Hello, friends. My name is Claire, and I'm going to be doing a vampire Victorian home for this week's Sims 4 video. So, if you're new to the channel, hi, I am Claire, and I make a Sims 4 speed build every week. And I've been doing this for the past like 3-4 years. So, we are going to be starting off on the porch area, and I wanted this house to be in the dark academia style. Some rooms are kind of more or less, but I wanted, like, especially the exterior to be like this, like dark academia vampire style. And I did want to add some greenery. These plants are from the Get Together stuff or game pack. No, it's the expansion pack. There's a lot of packs in this game if you're new to The Sims. And so we are just going to be making sure I add the garbage can because that is important and necessary. So now we are just going to kind of be hiding some of the curves of the house. You can see, or hopefully you can't see, that the floor from the interior is kind of popping out from the exterior. And now we are in the interior. First, going to be decorating this little turret with a music room area. So I went with this locked piano from the base game, and I tried to incorporate this like gold detail throughout the house. You can see it on the doors, and I did try to also include it in other furniture items. And so now we are in the dining room. And I wanted this dining room to obviously feel very regal and grand, and so this is a vampire house. I just wanted to remind that detail with the giant picture of Vlad on the wall. And now we are just going to be kind of figuring out what I want to put in the dining room and what I want to put in the kitchen. Even though this home is for vampires and they don't really need to eat, they just need plasma. I still wanted to incorporate a kitchen into this house, and I did kind of make it more for the pets of the household. And so now we are just going to be working kind of more back in the entryway of the house. So we are just going to be adding a little chair on this little curved part and going to be also adding an aerator for the heat. I wanted this house to be somewhat accurate to the time period of Victorian homes, and so I put a lot of aerators in the house. I'm sorry, I don't know if I'm saying aerators right, or even if that's the right thing to call the thing, but like the heat source. And so now we are just going to be figuring out what else to add in the space. It was a little bit tricky because looking at Victorian home blueprints, it's like kind of like a hallway, and it like kind of like branches out with the different rooms, but all the branches are kind of on the left side of the house with the dining room and the living room, and the kitchen's kind of more towards the back. So we are just going to be using the same rug from the entry doorway to the side doorway that leads into the side yard. And now we are just going to be trying to figure out a place to put the pipe organ. I do find a space upstairs in the study, which we will get to when we get to the second level. So I'm just going to be adding a rug. I wanted to choose this fancy looking flooring, but I feel like it was a little much in some places, especially in these like larger areas. That's why there's kind of like random rugs in this entry area. And now we are just going to be going in the kitchen, and the kitchen is pretty small, but this home is also for vampires. So like I said just a minute ago, that this kitchen kind of ends up being for the cat of the household, and so it's not really like not used for anything other than the cat. And now we are just going to be adding a refrigerator, and I didn't go to pack crazy with this house. I think I used like 4 to 5 different packs in this house, but they're kind of random, like the cottage kitchen kit. And so we are just going to be now working on some upper storage in the kitchen. I do switch out all the lowers for the matching counters that go with the cabinets, and I feel like it looks a little bit better. I did want it to like have this like royal or regal feel to the kitchen, but when I thought about it a little bit more, I'm like, wait, this is a space where they wouldn't really use that often, so it makes sense to have kind of more worn down cabinets and different than this more regal feel, but I do use the same green countertops in the bathrooms because that would be a space that vampires maybe use a little bit more often than a kitchen. So we are just going into the hall bathroom. This is a 3 bedroom, 3 bathroom home total. I am only going to be showing you two of the bathrooms because the other two bathrooms are kind of similar. One's just smaller than the other, but they're both in the turret part of the house. And so now we are just outside, just kind of figuring out what to do in here. I do have a greenhouse, so if your Sims don't want to go out and hunt people for their plasma, they can take this fruit from a plasma tree and not have to go out for food. It's just very simple and convenient. And luckily for me, people on the Sims 4 gallery have posted some plasma trees already, so that's why I have included their names and their usernames to give them the credit. And now we are just going to be putting one on the exterior of the garden just for bigger it's bigger and so it makes more sense to have the bigger plant out here. You can honestly make this greenhouse into whatever you want. You can maybe make it into a little studio apartment. Maybe your Sims want to have like a full-on like she shed or like art studio type of space. And I feel like this backyard was a little bit hard. I was trying to make it as fun as possible with like still kind of keeping a Victorian theme. So I did hide the hot tub with these trees, so you don't really see it on the exterior. If like your Sims are just like walking by the house, you probably wouldn't see the hot tub. But I felt like I needed something in this corner, and the hot tub was the best like filler for the space. But we are now back inside the house and in the living room, kind of like the formal living room area. I forgot to add a TV into this space, but I was going to plan on using the picture frame TV, but that would have been an additional pack, and I was trying to keep my packs low with this house, and so we are just going to be adding some of these chairs from the base game. I did just use the Queen Anne search term, which is really helpful to like it helps like filter your searches so you get more regal looking furniture, or you can search for like country, boho. It's very helpful if you are struggling to find those like items you need to use in a build. So we are just going to be kind of making it like two separate areas in this space. So there's like the fireplace, and then there's the seating area. Make more sense to have the seating area closer, but I also didn't want to block the doorway to this or the entrance into this room, and so we are just going to be adding some plants and cute little bunny statue. I always try to add a bunny statue into my builds, so we are just going to be finishing off this room with some lights and with some curtains on the windows. They are vampires. They probably want to keep it as dark as possible, so we are just going to be also adding some curtains into the dining room and going to be hiding this little hot tub moment. Just I feel like it made more sense to hide it. So I do like how hidden it looks with that, but it still looks natural. And so we are just going to be doing a little bit of adjusting and going to be adding some more heat sources into these areas. And now we are on the second floor. And with doing a quick Google search, I learned that the second level was kind of more for the owners, like the masters or mistress. And so I do have like the second level mostly for them. And so that's like where the primary bedroom is and the private study area or the office. And so you can see we're back in the kitchen. And that's because I'm like, oh wait, I want to use these window bench seats for the little like trapezoid bump out on the house. And I'm like, wait, I might as well just add some pet bowls because that is where the best, in my opinion, the best like window bench seats are is from the cats and dogs pack. And so this is when the abandoned kitchen becomes occupied again by the cat. So we have a litter box and two pet bowls, but I do get rid of one of the pet bowls. I wasn't sure how many cats I wanted or how many cats and plus dogs I wanted. So we are just going to be adding a matching bed to the wallpaper of this bedroom. And it might be a little bit much, but I honestly kind of enjoy how like vibrantly red this room is. I kind of goes with the dark academia, but kind of like it's like just a nice little pop of color in this room. And so we are now just going to be making a dresser area. Something else that was in the Google search is that there would be like a private changing area separated by a like changing divider thing, and you'll see what I'm talking about once I find the item. It did take me a little bit to find this like room divider that I was thinking of, and so I kind of cut it out for the most part, but I did want to make sure that there was a mirror in the space, and this is the room divider I'm talking about, trying to describe. Doesn't really match most of the room, but I was just happy to find it, and so we are just going to be adding some lamps on the side tables and going to be adding another dresser on the other side of the room, so it kind of like mirror image is kind of like the master and the mistress have their separate dressers. And so we are going to be adding just a small little tapestry above the air heater and going to be going to add some more items into the hallway before we go into the study office space. And so I wanted to obviously incorporate the pipe organ because when else am I going to be using a pipe organ in a build if it's not for a house dedicated to vampires. And now we are just going to be kind of figuring out the different zones of the room. I knew I wanted it to be like an office, a library, and a music room for this house. And so I was just kind of like figuring out how to divide which like zone would work best in which area. And so we are just going to kind of be like honing in the different spaces with these rugs. So I have the same rugs just used twice since it's the same room. I just wanted to like kind of like tie in the different areas in their different spots. So we use one by the desk and we use one by this bookshelf area. And I feel like it just helps like define the space. And so we are just going to be adding this little storage and going to be adding a chair and another cat tree because I feel like having cat tree just is like maybe the cat's like the real owner, the real master, mistress of the house. And so we are just going to be adding these large pictures of possibly relatives or the Sims themselves as before they were vampires, and so now we are just going to be adding some cat scratches onto the wall, and now we are in the primary bathroom or the bath, and this is a bathroom that connects to the master bedroom, and so we are just going to be adding a lot of, well, not a lot of different things, but like I wanted to see what it looked like to have these same matching countertops from the kitchen. I do switch these countertops out for the green countertops in from the vampires pack, and so we're just going to be adding a mirror. I feel like this is a very large bathroom for just a very simple space, and so we're just going to be trying to like figure out what to put in like this hallway. I did end up going with some like floor to ceiling shelving, and I just feel like that made sense to have the most amount of storage as possible. I mean, there's nothing wrong with a lot of storage, and so we are just going to be adding a picture above this empty spot. I was going to put another cabinet to the left of the the current cabinet, but it just felt like it was going to be like too tight, and I wanted it to feel as open as possible. And so now we are on the third level, which has two bedrooms and a playroom. So first we're going to be starting off in this hallway, and that from my Google searches again, I learned that the like third level would be for the children, their caretaker, and possibly other servants. I didn't plan for servants or other caretakers when I was designing this house, so if you do want to have a servant in this house, you can have them stay in the playroom area, turn that into a servant's quarters, or you can possibly add a basement into this house. And so we are just going to be adding some pictures, and that was kind of hard to choose like what to add because I wanted it to be feel youthful, but I also wanted it to feel like it was still in that Victorian time period. And that's kind of a reason why I decided to go for a vampire house for this week's video. It is October, and I try to pay a little bit of attention to the different occults in The Sims, vampires, werewolves, magic spellcasters, and mermaids. So first we are going to be starting off this month honestly with a vampire Victorian home. So if you like occults and feel like they should receive a little bit more love and attention, please make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. We are so close to hitting 100 subscribers. Currently, when I'm recording this video, we are at 91 subscribers. So, thank you to all those who have already hit that like and subscribe button. It means so much to me. I would love to do this YouTube thing as long as I possibly can, and your support really does help. So, we are just going to be back in this same blue room and going to be adding a bookshelf. I didn't really want to like base it too much off of one like interest or another. It's kind of just mostly based off of color for both of these bedrooms, and so now we are in the playroom, and I feel like having a little window bench seat was a pretty cute option for this room, and it just kind of, I feel like helped with the whimsicalness. And we are going to be adding a dollhouse, and I looked at the name of the dollhouse and it was Victorian dollhouse. I'm like, okay, this is perfect. I When I first saw it, I wasn't fully sold on the brown color, but it looks like it just barely got made. It still needs to get painted, and I feel like it does kind of tie in with the trim of the room. So we are just going to be adding a lot of like kid items. And again, this was pretty hard because I wanted the walls to feel fun and youthful, but still also in a Victorian time period appropriate. So we do end up going with these smaller base game pictures of animals, and I really do like how they turn out. Also, just having this little tree and having the clouds behind the tree just looked really cute, and I didn't know it would like turn out that way, and I'm really glad it turned out well. So I wanted all the pictures for the animals to be in a red frame just to keep it consistent with the room. And now we are in the third and final room of the space, which is the purple bedroom. I was kind of imagining that this would be for a girl, maybe she would be the one in the picture. And so we are just going to be adding another cat tree hangout spot because the picture has a cat, and I was kind of basing this room off of the picture. So we are just going to be making a little private changing area and going to be going onto the balcony for this room. So both rooms on this first level have balconies. So that's a little bit of a fun feature. So we are getting close to the end of the video. If you enjoyed watching, please make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. It would mean so much to me. I post new videos every single Tuesday, and I hope to see you all next week for another occult build. See y'all then. Bye!